Hey guys, how you doing? Sorry things are a bit later tonight than originally planned. Um, there were other things that kind of took over this evening, and then I was having technical difficulties. Oh joy. But I'm here now, and I am, after the week I've had and after the day I've had, I'm really looking forward to just doing some chilled out crafting. I did have some ideas of things that I could maybe make tonight, but I ended up having a look to see what kits I had that I hadn't played with, and I realised that I haven't made up the June paper pumpkin yet. So that's my plan for tonight. So if you want to watch, that's fine. If you want to craft along with me, go grab something that's easy to pull together. Um, and and yeah, let's just craft and have some fun. So I'm going to flip round to here. The paper pumpkins are really good because everything is just in the box. So if you want an easy, simple crafting experience, it's really good. It's a kind of enjoy the fun of crafting without having to use too much of your brain. And honestly, this is about all my brain has got space for. Having said that, that doesn't mean it's a lick and stick type kit. The paper pumpkins, I think, are a bit more involved than some of the other kits, which is why I picked this one this evening rather than something else. Hey Karen, glad you're here. So this is the June kit. So full disclosure, it's not available to purchase anymore. But if you are a Paper Pumpkin subscriber, then you get the access to buy past kits and refills for past kits as well. So if you are already subscribing to Paper Pumpkin, you've either already got this one or you can choose it by going onto the website and into your Paper Pumpkin account. I thought these cards looked quite pretty, and we've got a new neighbour that's moved in down the street. So I thought it would be fun to maybe make one of these cards for them to welcome them. So there's 3 different designs, 3 cards of each. So I'm going to make one of each of them, and let's have a look at this. I'm going to say a quick hi to everyone watching on Facebook, hi to everyone watching on YouTube, and hi to everyone watching on Catch Up. As always, drop me a comment in the chat and I will say hi back. So what have we got in here? We've got dimensionals, we've got glue dots, and we've got these really cute little pearlescent butterflies. They're quite sweet. Got a thin thing of linen thread. Let's just pull these bits and pieces out, get started. We've got a Calypso coral spot. You know, my habit is to just grab my own ink pad and save the spots because they end up as wee gifts in orders or prizes, things like that. And then we've got this stamp set. So have a lovely day. Thank you. Best wishes. There's a bike, little butterflies. So a pair of butterflies, a single butterfly, and then some flowers down here as well. And I've just got one of my clear blocks as well that came out of a previous paper pumpkin. So what have we got in here? So we've got decorated envelopes in my corally shade green and yellow. Let's just talk about what the colours are. So basic black, Calypso coral, crushed curry, lost lagoon, old olive, pecan pie, and silver. Those are the colours in this particular kit. The envelopes, I don't know if you can see, they've kind of got let's put the light on, see if that helps a bit. There's my light switch. I tidied up and now I can't find a lot of stuff. There we go. Don't know if you can see, there's kind of like lines across the front, but there's still a square. And the lines are different colours. So on the coral flap, these have got crushed curry lines. On the old olive flap, they've got Calypso lines. And then on the crushed curry flap, they've got old olive lines. So there's different, and the lines are on the reverse as well. So the envelopes are decorated front and back. Then let's kind of pull out what we've got next. So we've got card blanks. Oh, these are more interesting than I thought they were. So the Calypso coral ones have kind of got this textured effect. The same for the crushed curry, but they've also got this strip along the side or potentially the bottom. And then the same with the old olive. So you've got the mottled and then the darker bit there. So let's just pop them down here. And then we've got a whole load of pre-cut ephemera pieces. Oh, for a second I thought that was a wheelchair. But no, I think it's just half of a bike. And then you've got these little pieces here. This is interesting. I think we might need to stamp on those. I don't know. We'll find out. I am going to pop them down to one side and I'm going to crack open the instructions so that we know, so that I know what we're doing. They're really pretty. Can you see the silver foiling on there? Foiling is all the rage right now. Some of you may have seen me use my hot foiling machine, which I am still totally in love with. And actually, there is a new release of hot foiling products coming very, very soon, and it's the Christmas release. And oh my goodness gracious me, gorgeous. Gorgeous. Cannot wait. It's currently on its way to the UK. It got stuck in transit because of some of the shipping issues that have been affecting the world recently, which is so frustrating. You know that way when you want something and you want it now. But life sometimes gets in the way, doesn't it? Right, let's pop this piece out. Again, there's silver foiling on here as well. Can you see how shiny that is? That's really pretty. And then I need one of these. Kind of like a circle with a little bit cut off the edge. And I don't know if you can tell, if I hold it up next to that, maybe you can kind of see it's not white. It's like a very pale lemon. It's kind of like an off-white there. And I need one of these pieces as well. Baskets with the leaves. Oh, and we also need, from this page, got this little printed. It's almost like having your own designer series paper, but it's pre-cut and it's pre-done, it's pre-organized. Do you know, sometimes you just want an easy life. Is it just me? Sometimes there's just been too much going on in the world, too much crazy going on with life, and you just want things to be easy. So that's what we're doing tonight. Okay, this stamp says, have a lovely day. So I'm going to ink that up in my Calypso Coral, and I'm going to stamp it the center of this piece here. There we go. Have a lovely day. There's my Stampin' Scrub. And let's pop that back on. Karen, I haven't forgotten about the question you messaged me. I will make sure I reply to that this evening. I should have done it earlier today. But as I say, today's been a bit of a mad one. But I will reply to you this evening, I promise. This stamp, so it's this one here. It goes on here. Now, before I ink it up, I'm just going to make sure that I've got the positioning right for this, because this is going to stick on, this is going to stamp on this printed piece. I'm just making sure that I know which way it goes. Make sure I've inked it up really nicely. And then, oh well, let's just do it. Yeah, it's fine. I actually thought it needed to be closer. You're welcome, Karen. Thank you for understanding. So that stamped piece onto the flowers, it actually doesn't fill the whole space. So the fact that there's some of the yellow round about it that's how it's designed to be, which is good. Relieves the pressure off of me for wondering whether I've got it in the right place or not. Put the stamp back on here. Clean that off. Right, now let's start assembly. So, one of the things I like about the instructions is it tells you where you should put the foam pads, and whether it is foam or the glue dots that you're using. So for this bike piece, first of all, it's foam pads. These are mini foam pads. I don't know if you can tell that. And part of me was thinking, why have they given me mini? Because there's so many going on here. It would make so much more sense if they were the larger ones. But actually, as I'm doing it, they are going round the rim of this bike. And if they were the large ones, I would need to chop them in half for them to fit, which is not the end of the world. There's nothing wrong with chopping foam pads in half. But it's also nice to just have the small ones that are the right size, so I don't need to worry about that. I was crafting at the weekend with one of my nieces who has just had her 1-year anniversary with her boyfriend. And one of the things that they wanted to do was have an album with their photos and like their memories over the last year. Now, my mum has recently had a special birthday, and I had made an album for her. And some of the photos in that album were of my niece and my brother and his family. And so my niece had seen this album, and so she had asked if I could do an album for her, with her, the same as I had done for my mum. Now, it wasn't the same album, because the one that I did for my mum's special birthday was an incredibly intense 2-day class. So that's probably more than I was able to do with my niece in the day that we had together. But we did do an album and printed off a whole load of photos and stuck inside, with lots of spaces for captions and little love notes and messages. And she was really, really happy with the result. But it was just so much fun having a crafty day with my niece and making an album together. I don't have photos of it because I respect her privacy, and she's still of an age that I wouldn't necessarily put her pictures on social media without checking with her. So I'm afraid there's no photos to share. But we did have a lovely time, and she has very good taste when it comes to colour coordination, and the colours that she picked for her and her boyfriend were really lovely. Shaded Spruce and Blackberry Bliss, for those who know the Stampin' Up colours. And honestly, actually, I'll show you here, just with the ink pads, because it is a really cool colour combination. You see those ones? So Shaded Spruce and Blackberry Bliss. Really, really lovely colour combinations. And we actually used some clips of coral as well for like a highlight. So if you think of those as colours together, they worked really well. And we had a fabulous project, and we had so much fun making it. Rightio, let's start putting this together. So I've got my card blank. I've taken all the foam pads off of the back of these. Now this goes on right up to the edge, there, like that. There we go. Right. It is a lovely colour combination. One of the colours she picked because she felt that that was like her favourite colour, and then the other colour she picked because that was her boyfriend's favourite colour. And so the kind of two colours together worked really well together. And they're a very cute couple as well. Young love, eh? Right, let's tuck this on This goes about here. There we go, foam pads on the patterned bit and then just glue dots on the sentiment. And then we use foam pads on the bike basket with the flowers. And that goes on the top there. Like so. Super cute. Right, now we need a little bow. So I'm going to do the bunny ears kind of bows. So 2 loops. Thank you, Lively. I'm glad you're enjoying this. It is very cool. Junk journal items aesthetics. We love a bit of journaling, don't we? There we go. Let's get that little bow together. And then I'm going to use a glue dot to pop that in place. So just using my scissors to lift up the glue dot and then peel off the backing. If you are making one of these cards, I would recommend putting the glue dot and the bow on before you stick that bit on, just because it's a little bit easier. But actually it wasn't that hard. Right, let's get some of these butterflies on as well. So let's just lift these off. Put one here. Because let's face it, when you've got flowers, you got butterflies. Also, you know I'm a bit of a sucker for bling. So any cute little silvery pearlescent butterflies to go onto the card. Absolutely what I want to do. Yeah, right. So that's card 1 of 3 done. Loving that, just that hint of silver on the bike and then the little silver butterflies as well. Have a lovely day. Do you think that would work as a welcome to the neighbourhood card? New neighbours, maybe. We talked about their kids riding the bikes up and down the street out the front. We've got quite a, I was going to say quite a quiet street. It can be quiet. It can be busy as well. But it's certainly a good street for kids to be riding their bikes down. So, right, let's move on to card 2. So this one's using the Calypso Coral card blank. And we're on a landscape type card this time instead of portrait. So again, we've got a piece to pop out. It is pretty, Karen. Thank you. There we go. Now this one, so I'm popping out the piece that goes on the front, but it's also got these little pieces here to pop out too. So it just make sure before you stick it down that you've popped out all of the pieces that need to be popped out. What else do we need from this one? So we've got this floral piece too. Floral, leafy foliage, you know what I mean. And then we've got, oh, this is cute. So it goes on the front of the bike, the little label. Oh, I like this. It's almost, I was going to say it's almost like a registration plate. It's like a little hanging tag and there's 2 little silver bits at the top here as well. I like that. That's cute. So let's just pop that to one side and bring out our stamps again. So remember I said there was 2 different floral ones? Well, that floral one has gone on the first card. This other floral one goes on here. And so there's a bit that stamps there, a bit that goes there, a bit that goes here. Now, I find this quite interesting because it's not often, certainly in some of the kits that I've done before, if you're stamping something, it's either like as a random background or your sentiment. But with a paper pumpkin, they do kind of step things up a bit. So actually stamping onto pre-printed pieces, I'm not going to lie, part of it is freaking me out with my anxiety. You know, what if I get it wrong? What if I get them squint? But so far, there seems to be lots of leeway and wriggle room. And of course, because they're clear stamps, because they're photopolymer, you can see where you're going. And they all seem to be working pretty well. What do you think? I like that. Stamping on the pre-inked the pre-printed elements. Just makes it a bit fancier while still letting me have an enjoyable and stress-free crafting experience. Best wishes is what goes on a little label here. So let's ink this up. Right. There we go. Line that up. One here. Best wishes. Calypso Coral is one of these colours that I sometimes forget to use it. I'm not a huge fan of oranges, I'll be very honest. The only reason that I've got Pumpkin Pie, which is one of the most popular oranges, is for snowman's noses, if I'm being very honest. Now, snowman's nose, carrot or tangerine? Let me know which camp you're in, and then I'll tell you where I stand, because I have very firm views on that question. But yeah, I don't really craft very much with orange. I know we're getting into peak Halloween time, so it's all pumpkins and other orangey type things, but I've never really done much Halloween. It's not really something that I celebrate. I mean, we used to dress up a bit as kids, but it just was never really something I was massively into. I know other people enjoy it. That's perfectly fine. If it's your bag, then go for it, enjoy it, have a fabulous time. But it's not really something that I do a massive amount of crafting for. So the oranges are not really colours that I use very much. But every time I use Calypso Coral, I'm reminded how much I enjoy it. So perhaps I need to remember it's there a bit more and dig it out. As oranges go, it is a very nice shade, and it works really well with florals. I think the times I use it the most is when it's a featured colour in paper that I like. So if my DSP has got Calypso Coral as one of the colours, then I'm much more likely to reach for it and use it. Okay, that is a lot of foam pads on here, but before I stick this down, the suggestion here, now, do you know what? I think I'm actually going to change this. Well, am I going to change it? Yeah, the suggestion here in the instructions is to use the linen thread, wrap it around the back, wrap it around the front, and tie it in a bow. But part of me is thinking that I could just hang that on there and tie it with and then add a bow to the side. What's the benefit of actually putting it? Do you know what? I'm going to change this. Just because the instructions say you're meant to do something doesn't mean you have to. You can do it any way you want. And so I'm going to do it my way. I think there's a famous song along those lines. Right. Karen in the chat says that snowman's nose is a carrot, and so does Linda. Well, I will hate to disagree with you both, but the snowman I grew up with very clearly had a tangerine for a nose. I am a huge fan of Raymond Briggs, the snowman. In fact, I've even got a couple of Royal Doulton figurines of the snowman, and every Christmas, it's not really Christmas until I've watched the snowman. And the Snowman and the Snow Dog, which obviously was the second one that came out, and sequels are often a bit hit and miss, but it is just as lovely and just as beautiful. So, while yes, I understand that some people think that a snowman has a carrot for a nose, my snowmen would always have a tangerine. In fact, when it does get close to Christmas, if you're ever around at mine, I've got my snowman oven gloves and my snowman mixing bowl for making the Christmas cake, and snowman tea towel. In fact, one year I even had snowman kitchen roll that my mum, she's fabulous at finding snowman related gifts for me. One Christmas, even all of my presents were wrapped up in snowman paper. So I do love the snowman. And so for me, a snowman has a tangerine for a nose. Snowman came out after you'd grown out of building snowmen. Well, have you ever grown out of building snowmen? I mean, it's something that if you get enough snow, Tom and I have built snowmen in the garden, in our front garden actually. The neighbours must have thought we were crazy, but yeah, you're never too. Do you ever grow out of making snowmen? Answers on a postcard. I do love winter. I know I'm saying winter and snowmen. It's still the start of August. Half of the country has only just started its school holidays. All of my colleagues at work are all disappearing off places hot and sunny. And I know that there's a heat wave down in England at the moment. For those who are not in England, in Scotland, we do not have a heat wave. I can assure you. Right now, the rain is not as heavy as it was earlier, but it is certainly far from hot summer temperatures. So it's more, well, what we would say in this neck of the woods, dreich, which generally means grey and slightly damp. So maybe that's why I'm thinking of Christmassy and wintry type weather. While I love summer and I love sunshine, don't get me wrong, I do prefer autumn, winter, battling the elements. For me, it's much easier being too cold and having to put on more layers. Because when you're too hot, there is a limit to how much you can take off, at least in polite company. So, yeah, I would rather enjoy the winter months, which are fast approaching. Before you know it, it'll be Christmas, and we'll get to enjoy that mad weather. There we go. Right, card number 2, Calypso Coral, the little butterflies up at the top, the little bow along the side, alternating between dreich and torrential. You're absolutely right, Linda. Although whenever I think of torrential, my gran, she used to jokingly say it's toriental rather than torrential. And that just makes me think of her. So, okay, card number 3. And this is the one that's, I was going to say this one's got the bike on it. They've all got the bike on it. But this one is a whole bike. And this is just like a card that sits on top of the card blank. Okay, what else do we need? So we've got, yeah, you see, I thought we were going to have to stamp on these pieces. I'm going to leave it on the piece here to stamp it. I think that will be easier. I am going to pop out this other piece that I need. And I'm going to pop this piece out as well. And I also need this piece. And that is all done, so it can go into recycling. And then I need this long piece here for the sentiment. There we go. Okay, so let's get my stamping. So this one is a thank you card. So let's do the thank you sentiment first. Always handy having thank yous to hand. And so we've got the flag to the left, and then the thank you sentiment right there. There we go. There's my stamp cleaner. And then we're using this floral piece again. Oh, we need the butterflies too, but we'll do this floral piece first. Right, so this floral piece stamps on this this piece here. Okay, so there's two of them, and there's some more on the other sheets as well. So I've got a bit of leeway if I get something wrong. But let's try it, see how we go. It's come off. Okay. Yay! It's worked. That worked surprisingly well. Let's clean that off. And then the last thing I need to do, some of these itty bitty butterflies. So we're going to put one of them, oops, one of them goes about here. And then the other one, I'll pull that off, or else I'm going to end up actually stamping that as well, aren't I? There we go. That one goes there. Lovely. These are quite pretty butterflies. Can you, I don't know if you can see them, they've got a little bit of detailing on the wings. They're not just solid. I like that. I think some of my very first stamps that I can remember getting and playing with, it was a fairly small butterfly. It was less than an inch square, maybe about, yeah, maybe about that size, like a centimetre and a half by 2 centimetres. And I used to colour it in with pens so that I could have different bits of it, different colours. And I loved it, and I used to stamp it on everything, and I would cut it out with scissors and then fold the wings up so that they looked as if they were flying. My first ever stamp, the first one that I ever bought, I've still got it somewhere, it was a shooting star. So a little star with a little trail that came out behind it. And I got it from a shop in York, which I believe is still going, a craft shop, a stamping shop called Make Your Mark. And I remember getting stuff there. I'm not going to say how long ago it was, but I was considerably younger than I am now. And they were such a lovely company. And that was where I learned how to do heat embossing and all sorts of stuff. And I would sit with their catalogue and I would pore over it for hours, like actual hours, and come up with all the different ideas of things that I could make. I suppose now it's in a very similar space with the Stampin' Up catalogue, which, by the way, if you have shopped with me in the last few months, I do have the new catalogue, which I will be posting out shortly to all of my lovely customers, so that you too can pore over all the new goodies that are coming. The new catalogue doesn't go live until September, but that's plenty of time for us to get our wish lists in order, and see if there's any bits and pieces that we just can't live without. I always think the sign of a good catalogue is when there's things in it that I don't like. And you might think, Emma, you're crazy. Why would you want a catalogue with things in it you don't like? And the reason for that, reason for me being crazy, is that we all have different tastes and different styles. And if I like everything, then there's somebody else out there who's looking at it thinking, oh, I don't like any of this. So it is perfectly fine for there to be things that I don't like. because then that means that there's somebody out there who's looking at it, who's absolutely squeeing with excitement over some of the stuff that's there. And that is cool. This is going together really cutely. Okay, so we've got more linen thread. So this one, we're just kind of doing it. So when you're doing one of these kind of loops, so you want 3 pieces almost. So if you use 4 fingers and kind of wrap it round once in its entirety and then down again to there. Oh, hey, Ali, glad you're here. So you've got kind of, I like a loop at one end, a loop at the other end, and an end at each end as well. So you're going to put that there, and then I'm going to put it kind of at a jaunty angle on top of my little patterned piece. And then this sticks onto it with foam pads. So I'm going to put a foam pad on either end, and then I'm going to use one foam pad in the center to hold down my linen thread. Okay. And then when I take these pieces off, I'm gonna just position, so that loop comes out the bottom, that loop comes out the top. This kind of offsets about there. There we go. So now I've got my sentiment with the linen thread behind it. And I'm going to use foam pads, not foam pads, glue dots, to stick this down. One on the left, one on the right, one in the centre. As the song goes, 3 is a magic number. There we go. Okay, so now this goes on just kind of at the edge of my piece here, over my bike. Oh, I'm glad you think it's cute. Let's put this foam piece, this piece on with foam pads as well. It's going in the back of the bike. This is quite a intense bike. It's got a basket at the front with flowers. It's got a rack at the back with more flowers, in fact flowers in a plant pot, and books. I would be slightly worried that those would fall off if I was on a bike, but then I would also be slightly worried that I would fall off of the bike. Do we put butterflies on? It'll get caught up in the spokes. You're absolutely right, it would. See, it doesn't say to put on butterflies. I think I'm going to anyway though, aren't I? Can't have it without some more bling. And there are enough. So let's just put one. Oh, on the sentiment. That's where I'm going to put it. Just one little silver butterfly on the sentiment. And then let's get the envelope to match. And there we go. That's card 3. Again with the silver foiling on the bike frame, the flowers and the butterflies, and my little extra butterfly on the sentiment. And that is all of the cards in this set. So let's just go over them again. We've got the first one, which was the portrait one, Have a Lovely Day. Then we had the first of the landscape ones, Best Wishes, and the Calypso Coral. And then we had the Crushed Curry landscape one, Thank You. Let me know in the comments which one's your favourite. I do have the rest of the kit, so you get 3 of each of the cards, so I do have more that I can make up and send to people. And if there's one that you think would be good for a new neighbour card, I might try and do something different for a new neighbour card. Although one of these, do you think any of these would do for a new neighbour card? let me know in the comments. If you think one of them would work, then I can use that. Otherwise, I'm maybe going to my stash to see what I've got. Hey, Julie, it's okay. Don't worry about being late, although I am about to finish. And you fell off your bike, Ali. Oh no. Laugh, but you were laughing. You weren't hurt. Good. Hoping nobody saw you. Well, if they did, then you should just run them over with your bike. Thanks very much for joining me this evening, everyone. Or if you were joining on catch up, thank you again. If you are somebody who's interested in the Stampin' Up stuff, the clearance rack has just been updated. So there's a lot of bargains there at the moment. Make sure you check it out. If you like getting the stuff at a discount and getting it cheaper, then now is the time to go and look. But yeah, have a lovely week. Do crafty things. Ooh, Linda, the crushed curry is your favourite, but you think the best wishes one would be good for the neighbours. That is very good advice. Thank you very much for that. Take care, everyone, and I shall see you next week. Bye.